Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another TSW&SD Cyclone video update. Tonight, the 10th of March, my name is Nathan, and tonight we're going to be continuing to talk about ex-tropical cyclone Gillian and tropical cyclone Haiti. So firstly, let's have a look at the tropical cyclone forecast track map for ex-tropical cyclone Gillian. And at the moment, here we are, 4 p.m. March the 10th. That's 4 p.m. today. And ex-tropical cyclone Gillian was classed as a low pressure system just off the coast here of Cape Kawea. The cyclone then heads in a south to southwesterly direction away from the west coast of the peninsula, and at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. on Tuesday, still considered a low pressure system. Then, as it continues overland, or not overland, overseas, should I say, we can see that it re-intensifies once again into a tropical cyclone category 1 here on the evening or the afternoon of Tuesday, March the 11th, and continues to track in that south to southwest direction. And by 4 a.m. on Wednesday morning, still a Category 1 tropical cyclone just to the north of Mornington Island. And 4 p.m. March the 12th, that's Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m., it intensifies into a Category 2 cyclone, still heading in that south to southwest direction. And then by Thursday morning, it's crossed over the Northern Territory and Queensland border into the Northern Territory, and is still a Category 2 system on Wednesday morning at 4 a.m. And then Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon, 4 p.m., expected to be there just to the east of Port MacArthur and Borroloola. So that at the moment is ex-tropical cyclone Gillian. Now, when ex-tropical cyclone Gillian does re-intensify into a Category 1 cyclone, no idea whether the Bureau will continue to call this cyclone Gillian, or whether they will rename it another name. But we will just wait to see what the Bureau decide to do with that. Now here we have tropical cyclone Haiti, the one that got away from Queensland. At 4 p.m. this afternoon, that's 4 p.m. Monday afternoon, we can see it's a Category 1 cyclone sitting there just off the coast of Townsville. It starts now heading in this north to northeasterly direction, intensifies into a Category 2 system by tomorrow morning, that's Tuesday morning. 4 p.m. it de-intensifies back into a Category 1 cyclone by tomorrow afternoon, still continuing in that northeast type direction. And then by 4 a.m. Wednesday morning, still a Category 1, still heading in that same direction. By 4 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon, it's developing more of an easterly direction than a northeasterly direction. So we could say it's a northeast easterly direction. Still a Category 1 cyclone. Then 4 a.m. Thursday, still Category 1, same direction, heading over there into the we could say the eastern Coral Sea region. And then here at 4 p.m. on March the 13th, that's the Thursday, it's a Category 1 cyclone out there on the eastern side of the Coral Sea. So what does this all mean for rainfall? Well, here we are for tomorrow's rainfall. And, what we can see is in this area over here where tropical cyclone Gillian, or ex-tropical cyclone Gillian is, we can see that there is quite a sizable amount of rain happening just off the coast there of the western coast of the peninsula. And tropical cyclone Haiti has taken all its rainfall with it out to sea, basically leaving the entire Queensland coast without much rain at all. There is a little bit happening up there in the peninsula area on the eastern side, but certainly not as much as what could be expected here over the western um, coast of the peninsula. Heading into Wednesday now, and we can see that ex-tropical cyclone Gillian has taken its moisture and pretty much stuck it onto the Gulf of the North Gulf districts near the Queensland and Northern Territory border. And again, poor old east coast of Queensland not really getting a lot of rain whatsoever here on Wednesday. It's only those far northern parts that could see some rainfall happening. Now looking into Thursday, and we can see that the rainfall continues here on that Northern Territory Queensland border, and the Queensland coast once again just getting very isolated, very light showers. Nothing unfortunately happening in here for the farmers whatsoever. So again, the poor farmers do miss out. And on Friday, we can see that the rain activity up in the north continues, stretching down to just a little bit down there in the Cairns region, and the rainfall from ex-tropical cyclone Gillian has moved offshore again into the Gulf waters. Now, if we have a look at the rainfall now for from the 14th to the 17th, so these are the next 4 days after Friday, and what we can see is that there is a whole heap of rainfall activity happening here over the Gulf waters. Some of that is making it to the western coast of the peninsula area, and the far northern part of Queensland is also copying a bit of a drenching from this system, and a bit of a monsoon trough up there as well. The shower and rain activity does extend down the coast to probably just north there of Townsville, but then beyond that it's very hit and miss and very light and isolated showers. A bit of light sort of stuff happening here around the central Queensland type districts, but unfortunately for a majority of the state, it's missing out. And here's just an overview of the next 8 days rainfall wise. As we said, a lot of rain activity happening here in the Gulf district over those waters. A little bit hitting land here in the northern part of the Gulf districts over land. A lot of it happening here on the peninsula, right in the far northern part of the peninsula, and coming down the coast here to again just north there of Townsville, and then as we go further south, it starts to really lighten off the further south that we go, and the interior part there of Queensland missing out altogether. So now if we have a look at the satellite imagery brought to us by the Bureau of Meteorology, and well, what we can see is this low pressure system here over in the Fijian Vanuatu sort of area is starting to spin up just a little bit. Here we've got Tropical Cyclone Haiti off the coast of Queensland, heading in its north to northeast direction. And here we've got Tropical Cyclone Gillian here in the Gulf, spinning up a little bit of convective type cloud there, but certainly not the amount that we would expect from a very strong cyclone at this moment. I guess the most interesting thing to see here on this map is the convective cloud that is being spun up by this system over here in the northeastern Coral Sea, again around that Fiji and Vanuatu area. We do stress at this time that this system here is not expected to come anywhere near Queensland. I'll repeat that again. This system here is not expected to come anywhere near the Queensland coast. In fact, what it is forecast to do is it is forecast to head down in this southerly direction and actually head towards New Zealand. So if you're in New Zealand, North Island of New Zealand, be watching out for the next few days as this system makes its way down towards New Zealand. We can't say with 100% certainty that this system won't hit Queensland, but there's about a 1% chance that it will. So it's very, very low odds indeed. And here is a new animation that we're bringing into our video forecasts here on TSW&SD. This comes from a website called Earth, www.earth. And what it is showing is the winds that are at the moment happening around these systems. So here we can see that Gillian, she's got some wind still coming around her, still. We have tropical cyclone Haiti. Having some quite good winds coming in around her, still looking like a fairly strong sort of system. And we have this system over here in the Fiji and Vanuatu area with some good winds there. So it's just more of an interest sort of image, this one, just to show you what the winds are actually doing with these systems. So if we continue having a look at the sea surface temperatures for these two systems at the present, and what we can see is ex-tropical cyclone Gillian is fairly close there to the coast, on the west coast of the peninsula, still in quite favourable sea surface temperatures, so they're still quite warm there. So there's no problems about the warmth of the ocean for that system. Tropical cyclone Haiti, just here off the Queensland coast, probably in this orange type area, in the Coral Sea there. So the sea surface temperature there for that system is still quite good, and as it tracks in that north to northeast direction, we can see that the sea surface temperatures are very, very good for the system. If we now have a look at the relative humidity that's in the air for these systems, and we can see that for ex-tropical cyclone Gillian, located in and around that sort of area, has still got quite good moisture for further development if it decides to again push off the coast and back over water. There is still very, very good. And for tropical cyclone Haiti, which is sitting in this sort of area of the Queensland coast, we can see that there is still quite a lot of moisture in the air for its further development. And as we saw in the forecast maps there from the Bureau, we saw that it does re-intensify into a Category 2 cyclone. But interestingly enough, as we go further to the east or the northeast, which is the expected track for this cyclone, we can see that just around in this area here, the cyclone could encounter a little bit of dry air. Now, whether that dry air is enough to actually kill the cyclone or not remains to be seen, but it is still there, and it'll be interesting to see what effects it does have on this tropical cyclone Haiti. If we now have a look at the Bureau of Meteorology's axis model, and what we can see is we've got tropical cyclone Haiti sitting here off the coast, making its way towards that north to northeasterly direction, as we had predicted that it would do so. If we look, though, here at ex-tropical cyclone Gillian, as it is now called, and we can see it just lingers here off that west coast of the peninsula, makes its way in a southerly track, and then starts adopting more of a southwest track. So, and as it does, it intensifies. until it hits land, and when it hits land, then it starts to break up a little bit. So that's the Bureau's access map. So let's see what the two models are saying about these two systems, and we're going to start off with the European model, and we can see that ex-tropical cyclone Gillian is just sitting on the coast there of the west coast of the peninsula area in northern Queensland. This was at 6 o'clock tonight. If we now go further ahead and let's have a look where it'll be Tuesday morning at about 6 o'clock, and we can see that it's adopted that southerly run down the coast, still just sitting on the coast there. So it probably won't have much ability to be able to intensify while it is going down in that southerly track down the coast. Now, if we look into Tuesday evening at about 6 o'clock, and we can see that it has now pushed off the west coast of the peninsula, and is now sitting over some very favourable conditions, and has now that ability to be able to re-intensify. If we now look into Wednesday morning at about 6 o'clock, and we can see that it's adopted now that southwesterly sort of track, continues to re-intensify as it sits off the coast here of Mornington Island. And we continue through to Wednesday night at about 6 o'clock, and we can see there that it has continued that run, that southwest to southwest-west direction, heading towards the Northern Territory and Queensland border, kind of intensifying as it goes. It's only a fairly small system, but it's packing a bit of a punch there. Now, if we go through to Thursday morning, and what we can see is that it slows down just a tad as it sits off that Northern Territory Queensland border, and as it sits there, it's probably producing quite a bit of rainfall. In actual fact, we'll have a look at what the rainfall is like at this time for the system, and as we can see, we'll just show the land up just a little bit, and we can see that a lot of the moisture from the system on the southern side is just off the coast there at this time, but there is some quite good rainfall that is just hitting the coast there of the northern Gulf districts. So then, if we continue to track this system into Thursday night, and this is about 6 o'clock on Thursday night, the system continues to just sit off the coast there, and it doesn't seem to want to go anywhere at this stage. It just wants to sit there and continue to spin away in the Gulf there. Now, having a look through to Friday morning at about 6 o'clock, and we can see that according to the Euro, this system then seems to kick itself off the coast once again, back out into the Gulf waters, and we then have a look into Friday night at 6 o'clock, and it adopts this northwesterly type direction, heading now towards the Northern Territory coastline. But having said that, this far out, this is talking 4 days time. Anything can happen with these models, so please don't take this as absolute gospel, because anything can happen between now and 4 days time. Now, having a look at Tropical Cyclone Haiti, and as you can see at 6 o'clock tonight, it was sitting off the coast of off Mackay, probably a bit further north, so probably sitting off the coast or between Bowen and Townsville. If we continue to look at this system into tomorrow morning at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and we can see that this system continues to move in that northeasterly direction as we predicted that it would. Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, and it's continued to just slowly move towards the northeast. It's really not in a big hurry to go anywhere at this time. Now, if we look into Wednesday morning at 6 o'clock, and we can see that the system continues to move in that north to north, slight eastish sort of direction. And as it does, it seems to lose a lot of its structure as it does, and becomes a little bit more elongated than what we'd like to see for a cyclone. If we then go into Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock, and what we can see is it does start to make its move further away from the Queensland coast, so moving in that north easterly direction by that time. It's still resembling like an elongated type shape to its structure. There is some gales to its north-west quadrant of the system, but they're certainly not wrapping right around the system. So I would be saying at this stage that it'll be a very, very weak Category 1, if at all, a cyclone by this time. Thursday morning at 6 o'clock, and what we can see is that this system just continues to move in that northeast direction, not really packing any winds around it whatsoever, really. Then into Thursday night at 6 o'clock, Thursday night, and we can see that pretty much it's just washed itself out into a very trophy, ugly looking thing by that time. And then that's the end of Tropical Cyclone Haiti. Todd.